There's a phenomenon in quantum physics so strange, so counterintuitive, that even Einstein refused to believe it. He called it spooky action at a distance. He thought it proved quantum mechanics was incomplete. He was wrong. What Einstein discovered, what he fought against for decades, is now proven beyond doubt, and it changes everything about separation, connection, and what you truly are. We're going to talk about quantum entanglement, and by the end of this video, you will understand why the idea that you are separate from anything else in the universe is the greatest illusion ever told. Welcome. Today, we're exploring one of the most profound discoveries in all of science, a discovery that validates what mystics have said for millennia. A discovery that proves scientifically, mathematically, experimentally, that separation is impossible, that connection is fundamental, that at the deepest level of reality, everything is one. Let's start with the basics. In quantum mechanics, particles can become entangled. This happens when two particles interact and then separate. After this interaction, something extraordinary occurs. The particles remain connected. Not connected through space, not connected through any known force or field, but connected through something deeper. Something that transcends space and time. When you measure one entangled particle, the other particle, no matter how far away, instantly responds. Not at the speed of light, instantly, instantaneously. If you measure the spin of one particle and find it spinning up, the other particle, even if it's on the other side of the universe, will instantly be spinning down. Not because information traveled between them, but because they were never truly separate to begin with. Einstein hated this. In 1935, he wrote a famous paper with Podolsky and Rosen, the EPR paradox. Einstein argued that if quantum mechanics predicted this spooky action, then quantum mechanics must be wrong. There must be hidden variables we don't know about. The particles must have predetermined states that we simply measure, not states that are created by measurement. He was protecting something deeper. Einstein believed in locality, the principle that objects are only influenced by their immediate surroundings. He believed in realism, the principle that particles have definite properties, whether we measure them or not. Quantum entanglement threatened both principles. And if these principles fell, everything we think we know about separation, about independence, about isolated existence, collapses. For decades, it was a philosophical debate. Einstein versus Bohr. Locality versus non-locality. Classical intuition versus quantum weirdness. But then, in 1964, physicist John Bell changed everything. He developed a mathematical theorem, Bell's theorem, that could test whether Einstein or quantum mechanics was right. Bell's theorem showed that if Einstein was right, if particles have local hidden variables, then certain statistical correlations between entangled particles would be limited. There's a maximum correlation they could show. But if quantum mechanics was right, if entanglement is real, the correlations would exceed this limit. They would violate what's called Bell's inequality. The experiments began in the 1970s. Alain Aspect in France, Anton Zeilinger in Austria, dozens of other physicists around the world. Every single experiment has shown the same result. Bell's inequality is violated. The correlations exceed the classical limit. Quantum entanglement is real. Einstein was wrong. Separation is not fundamental. And in 2022, the Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to Aspect, Zeilinger, and Clauser for proving this experimentally. The scientific establishment has now fully accepted what mystics knew all along. At the deepest level of reality, everything is connected. Everything is one. So, we've talked about quantum entanglement, this spooky action at a distance. But what does it really mean? Not just for physicists in a lab, but for you, for me, for what we actually are. Entanglement proves that the universe isn't just a collection of separate things bumping into each other. It's a single, unified whole. A seamless web of connections that goes beyond space and time. This idea is called non-locality, and it's a fundamental part of reality. The physicist David Bohm described this with a beautiful concept. He said, reality has two layers. There's the explicate order, the world we see, full of separate objects and people. But beneath that, there's the implicate order, a deeper level where everything is folded into everything else, where separation is just an illusion and connection is the real truth. From this perspective, entanglement isn't strange at all. It's exactly what you'd expect if the universe is like a giant hologram. Think about it. If you cut a holographic plate in half, you don't get half an image. Each piece contains the whole image, just a bit less sharp. The universe works the same way. Every single particle contains information about every other particle, because at that deeper level, they aren't really separate. This isn't a metaphor. This is real physics. When two particles get entangled, they stop being two things. They become one system, sharing a single identity. You can't describe one without describing the other. They are one thing that just looks like two in our everyday world. Now get ready for this. According to quantum field theory, right after the Big Bang, everything in the universe was crammed into a tiny point. Everything was interacting. Everything was entangled with everything else. And here's the kicker. Entanglement, once it happens, never breaks. It doesn't weaken over distance or fade over time. This means that right now, you are quantum mechanically entangled with every atom in the universe. The atoms that make up your body were forged in the hearts of stars billions of years ago. They've journeyed across the cosmos, interacting with countless other particles. Every piece of you is connected to particles in the most distant galaxies. The feeling of being separate is just a trick of our perception. It's fascinating because ancient philosophies have been talking about this for thousands of years. The Vedic concept of Indra's net describes an infinite net where, at every crossing, there's a jewel that reflects every other jewel in the net. What affects one affects them all. This isn't just poetry, it's a perfect description of what our most advanced physics is now telling us. Similarly, the Buddhist idea of dependent origination says that nothing exists on its own. Everything arises in relationship with everything else. There are no truly separate things, only a vast interdependent web. Quantum physics is now proving this scientifically. No particle is an island. It is what it is because of its relationships with all others. But it gets even weirder. Entanglement doesn't just connect things across space, it connects them across time. Experiments have shown that a measurement made in the present can influence the state of a particle in the past. It suggests the past isn't set in stone. It's entangled with the present. Time, just like space, is not a barrier to this fundamental connection. So, what does this all mean for us, for our consciousness? If the particles in our brains are entangled with the entire universe, and if consciousness comes from the brain, then our consciousness isn't locked away inside our skulls. It's entangled with a universal field of consciousness. You aren't just a separate person looking out at the world. You are the universe, becoming aware of itself, right here, right now. This isn't just philosophy. It's the logical next step when you take the science of quantum entanglement seriously. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Thanks for watching, and if this blew your mind, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Have you ever felt a deep connection with someone, even when they're miles away? Or had a gut feeling that turned out to be true? What if I told you this isn't just intuition, but a fundamental property of reality itself? It's called quantum entanglement, and it's not just science fiction, it's Nobel Prize-winning science. Let's look at the evidence. In 2017, scientists sent one of a pair of entangled photons to a satellite 1,200 kilometers away. The moment they measured the photon on Earth, its partner in space reacted instantly, not at the speed of light. Instantly. This proved that these particles are connected in a way that defies our classical understanding of space and time. This isn't controversial, it's established fact. The scientific community agrees some things remain connected, no matter the distance. So what does this mean for us? If connection is more fundamental than separation, then our entire model of being isolated individuals is flawed. Physicist John Wheeler took this even further. He proposed that the universe is a self-creating loop, where consciousness and matter are entangled. Consciousness arises from matter, and in turn, consciousness, through the act of observation, brings matter into existence. It's a cosmic dance. If this is true, you are not just a part of the universe, you are the universe, observing itself into being. We aren't just passive spectators, we are active participants, co-creating reality. Think this is just theory? The Global Consciousness Project at Princeton University suggests otherwise. For over 20 years, they've been monitoring random number generators placed around the world. These devices produce pure, uncorrelated static. But something strange happens during major global events. Moments when billions of people focus their attention on the same thing, like 9/11 or the funeral of Princess Diana. During these times of shared global emotion, the random data suddenly becomes ordered. The randomness decreases. It's as if our collective, focused consciousness is influencing the quantum field on a planetary scale. It shouldn't be possible if our minds are isolated in our skulls. But if we're all focal points of a single, universal consciousness, it makes perfect sense. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake calls this morphic resonance. He argues that memory and learning aren't stored just in our brains, but in a collective field shared by a species. When rats in one lab learn a maze, rats in a totally different lab, with no physical contact, learn the same maze faster. It is as if learning something new creates a path in a shared field that others can access. Quantum entanglement sounded absurd to Einstein, but it's real. So why couldn't consciousness, memory, and information work the same way? Ancient wisdom traditions have described this for millennia. In the Vedic tradition, it's called the Akashic Records, a universal library where every thought, action, and experience is recorded and can be accessed. Mystics throughout history have claimed to tap into this field, gaining knowledge they couldn't have known otherwise. Quantum physics might just be providing the scientific mechanism for this ancient idea. If your consciousness is entangled with this universal field, then you have the potential to access all of its information. The key to accessing it? Coherence. Meditation, for example, isn't just about relaxation, it's about increasing the coherence of your mind. It expands the bandwidth of your connection to this universal field. You are not separate. You have never been separate. Separation is the grand illusion. Connection is the ultimate reality. Thanks for watching. If this sparked something in you, hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the nature of reality. So how do you live from this understanding? How do you embody the truth of entanglement? Because knowing intellectually that you're connected is not the same as experiencing that connection. And that experience, it changes everything. First, recognize that what you do to another, you literally do to yourself. Not morally, physically. If you and every other person are entangled expressions of one universal consciousness, then harming another is harming yourself. Helping another is helping yourself. This isn't just ethics, it's physics. The boundaries you see between yourself and others are just perceptual tricks, not fundamental reality. Every thought you think ripples through this entangled field. Every emotion you feel affects the collective consciousness, not through some vague spiritual energy, but through actual quantum entanglement. When you shift from fear to love, from separation to connection, you're not just changing yourself. You're changing the quantum field that connects everything. This is why individual awakening matters so much. When one person realizes their true nature, it creates a pathway, making it easier for others to follow. You aren't waking up alone. You are waking up the universe, through you, as you. Second, understand that your perception creates boundaries that don't really exist. Right now, you probably feel like you end at your skin. But quantum mechanically, there's no boundary. The atoms in your body are constantly swapping with the environment. The air you breathe becomes part of you. The food you eat becomes your body. You aren't a thing, you're a process, a constantly flowing, exchanging, and entangled process. The line between you and not you is arbitrary, a useful fiction for getting around in the world, but it isn't real. When you start to feel this, when your experience shifts from, I am a separate body, to I am this flowing process entangled with everything, your entire relationship with life transforms. Third, realize that distance is not a barrier to connection. Quantum entanglement proves this. You can be on opposite sides of the world from someone and still be profoundly connected. Ever think of someone and they suddenly call you? Or feel when a loved one is in distress, even if they're far away? That's not a coincidence. It's entanglement operating at the level of consciousness. The more you care about someone, the more entangled you become. Love isn't just an emotion. Love is entanglement. When you love someone, your quantum state gets correlated with theirs. What affects them affects you. This is why practices like meditation emphasize compassion. When you extend loving awareness to all beings, you're not just being a good person. You're aligning with the fundamental structure of reality itself. Fourth, understand that healing can happen non-locally. If you and another person are entangled, your shift in consciousness can affect theirs. This has been shown in studies on distant healing, where one person holding a healing intention for another causes measurable changes in the recipient's body. This isn't a placebo effect. It's the non-local effect that quantum entanglement makes possible. Now, this doesn't mean you can heal anyone just by thinking about it. But it does mean the old model of consciousness being trapped in our skulls is wrong. Your consciousness is entangled. What you intend, what you focus on, ripples through the field and has real, measurable effects. Finally, recognize that you have access to far more than your individual memory and knowledge. The entire history of the universe is encoded in the quantum field. Every thought ever thought, every experience ever had, in principle, it's all accessible through your consciousness. This isn't fantasy. Throughout history, people have accessed information through intuition and insight that they had no normal way of knowing. They called it God, spirits, or higher guidance. But the mechanism is entanglement. Your individual consciousness is a local expression of a universal one. In expanded states like meditation or flow, the boundary dissolves, and you can access the field directly. So the practice is simple. Meditate to increase your coherence. Expand your circle of compassion to recognize your entanglement with everything. Act from the understanding that separation is an illusion, and trust the insights that arise from beyond your individual mind. You are not isolated. You are infinitely connected. And that connection is the deepest truth of who you are. You're not just a separate wave in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, expressing itself for a moment as a wave. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content like this. See you in the next one. Let's bring this to completion. Quantum entanglement is not just another interesting fact about particles. It's the most profound discovery in the history of science, because it proves, beyond any doubt, that the universe is not a collection of separate things. It's a unified whole, a seamless web of connections that transcends space and time. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance because it violated his intuition about how reality should work. But experiments have proven, again and again, that Einstein's intuition was wrong. The universe is spookier, more mysterious, more interconnected than even Einstein could imagine. And that should fill you with wonder. Because you are not separate from this mystery. You are this mystery experiencing itself. Every particle in your body has interacted with particles across cosmic distances. Every atom in you was born in the heart of a dying star. Every element, heavier than hydrogen, was forged in supernovae explosions billions of years ago. Those atoms have traveled through space, been part of countless structures, interacted with trillions of other atoms. And through all of it, the entanglement remained. The connections persisted. You are literally made of stardust. But more than that, you are quantum mechanically entangled with those stars. The light from distant galaxies that enters your eyes has traveled for millions of years. And when that light interacts with the atoms in your retina, entanglement is established. You become connected to galaxies millions of light years away. Not metaphorically, literally, through quantum entanglement. The mystics were right. The ancient Vedic seers who declared, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. We're not speaking poetry. They were describing the structure of reality. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe. Every particle, every force, every field, all of it is you. Experiencing itself through this particular focal point of awareness you call yourself. And every other person is the same, not similar, the same. One consciousness, one universal awareness, manifesting through billions of focal points. Each focal point perceives itself as separate. Each develops an identity, a story, a sense of being an isolated individual. But at the quantum level, the separation is illusion. There is only one quantum field, one universal wave function, one consciousness. This is not belief. This is not faith. This is the mathematical structure of quantum field theory. This is what the equations describe. A unified field where every part is entangled with every other part, where action at one point affects every other point, where separation is a perceptual artifact, not fundamental reality. So what changes when you truly understand this? Everything. Your relationship to other people transforms when you recognize them as yourself. Your relationship to nature transforms when you recognize it as your body. Your relationship to the universe transforms when you recognize it as your consciousness. Fear dissolves because there is nothing separate to fear. Loneliness disappears because separation is impossible. Death loses its power because you realize you are not the individual that dies, but the universal consciousness that never ends. This is liberation. Not liberation from the world, liberation through understanding what the world actually is. Not a collection of separate things happening to you, but one unified process happening as you. You are not in the universe. You are not even part of the universe. You are the universe. Fully, completely, totally. And here's the beautiful part. Once you understand this intellectually, the practice becomes clear. Meditation is the practice of experiencing this truth directly, of dissolving the perceptual boundaries between self and other, of feeling the entanglement that quantum mechanics describes, of becoming conscious of what you have always been, infinite, eternal, universal consciousness. So I invite you to sit with this, not just as information, but as truth. You are not separate. You have never been separate. Separation is the greatest illusion, the most persistent lie, and quantum entanglement proves it scientifically. What mystics saw in visions, physicists have proven in laboratories. You are everything. Everything is you. There is only one. If this resonates with you, leave a comment below. Tell me about moments when you felt this connection directly. Subscribe to this channel for more quantum truth. And remember, right now, in this moment, you are entangled with everything. Every particle, every being, every moment in time. The entire universe is happening through you. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Welcome home to what you've always been.